Hey guys, Paul Shepherd here. Just a quick tutorial on how to set up your content curation workflow. So have a quick look at this diagram. This is the nuts and bolts of what we're going to be going through. So we've got some RSS feeds, as many or as little as you want in terms of content that you subscribe to that is relevant to your target audience as per the personas. So we want to get these RSS feeds, push them into If This Then That, which is a free online app, which then gets pushed into Pocket, which sits on your smartphone or web browser, and this will be the hub for your content curation. So on a daily basis you will get any number of articles pushed into Pocket, and then from Pocket it's literally 5 to 10 minutes per day to schedule your content through to Buffer, which then goes out through to your social channels. So these are the 4 channels I'd recommend. If you're a business, you definitely want Google Plus Local in terms of a local business. If it's a personal brand, then I'd just stick with Twitter, Facebook and LinkedIn, and depending on your audiences and how you segment them. So let's get into it. As for the prerequisites, so to get started you'll first need a free account at If This Then That. So the URL's here, and I'll put these under the video in hyperlinks. You'll obviously need a Pocket account, which is also free, and a Buffer account, and then you'll need to link up your Twitter, Facebook and LinkedIn accounts into all of these. So we'll take a dive into that one now. Okay, so the first one we look at is If This Then That. So once we jump into If This Then That, this is the screen that you'll see, and what we need to do is actually get a recipe. So before we jump into a recipe, I'd first go to your channels, and this is where you want to connect your social accounts. So in here, the social accounts that we want are Twitter, which you can find here. So this is mine's already connected, and it's just a matter of editing the channel or activating your channel. So this is where you just authorize Twitter to be connected to IFT. So the ones you'll need, again back in this diagram, you're going to need to connect Pocket, Buffer, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and then Google Drive if you want to create a backup log of everything that you publish, which I'd highly recommend. So once that's all set up inside, once you've connected your channels as a step 1, what you then need is a recipe. So if you click on My Recipes, you'll have nothing in here if this is a new account. So at the link on the bottom of this video, there is a link to the recipe I've created for this particular purpose. So if you copy and paste this into IFT or into your web browser, you'll see here it's actually a published recipe that I've created. So RSS feed into Pocket app, which covers off this first stage here. So let's go ahead and do that now. And to do that, we can just paste the URL into our browser, and it's just a matter of adding this recipe. So we click on the add. Okay, so recipe's added. What we do want to do is go back to My Recipes now and edit the recipe. So if we click on edit, so recipe title doesn't need changing. You can see here that this is my Pocket app connected, and the RSS feed from is this thing called Localvox, which is an RSS feed I'm subscribed to. So what we want to do is scroll down here to the trigger, and instead of Localvox, I want to delete that. Just want to go to a website that you want to subscribe to. So just think of a website or a blog that produces great content on a regular basis. So in this case I've picked Virgin Entrepreneur, and if we right click and go View Source, I'm using the Chrome web browser, View Source, this is the source code. So if we do a Control F or a Command F, what we're looking for is either RSS, and you can see here this is where we're looking for an RSS feed, or you type in the word feed. So what we're looking for ultimately is a URL that looks something like this. Basically it's the URL of the website with a feed at the end. So that's our RSS feed. So if we go back into IFT and we paste that into the feed URL, what this will then do is any new articles that are published on this URL, it's going to push this into IFT, which will then push this into Pocket. So ignore the URL here, and tags. You might want to tag this according to the domain name, or you might want to tag this according to the category. So you might want to put this, for example, it could be candidate, or it could be for client content, or it could just be talent. So just think of any categories or how you want to categorize this, just for ease of reference later on if you want to go searching for multiple recipes, because you will need to create a new recipe or duplicate this recipe for every single RSS feed that you want to create. And I'd highly recommend subscribing to a number of RSS feeds, so you're not just getting the same content all the time from the same blogs. So once that's done, we hit update, and now that's live. So recipe updated, that's active. You will get an error message if one of these isn't subscribed properly, but you can see here new feed item from, which is the URL from Virgin, and it's being saved into Pocket, which is my account here. So that takes care of this first step, getting an RSS feed into IFT. Now just replicate this first process as many times as possible, or as many times as required, until you've subscribed to all your RSS feeds. I've actually got about 20 that I'm subscribed to, so I get about 150 articles a day into Pocket, and most of them I just skim through because they're not highly relevant to what I'm looking for. So I guess choose with caution, but obviously try and pick content that's relevant, so you're not having to sift through hundreds of blog articles a day. Cool, so once that's done, the next step is we want to go and connect Pocket and Buffer. So Buffer is our scheduling app, and if we go into Buffer, or Pocket, let's do Pocket. Once you log into Pocket, what you will see is a list of all the articles. So this is basically your dashboard, if you like, and there is a mobile app for this, so you can do this on the train or the bus on the way to work every morning. But this is ultimately where you'll curate all your content. So you'll see all the articles you like, as an example, and let's say 5 email growth hacks you can implement in 5 minutes. Let's say I want to share this content out. What I would do is click on this forward arrow and Buffer. So this is going to send this to my Buffer account now, and I can tick which social channel I want to send this to. So this is not really suitable for my Twitter and LinkedIn profiles. However, Facebook, that's the audience I'm building, which is more of a technical kind of tips and techniques. So I'm going to untick LinkedIn, untick Twitter, but share this on Facebook only. Now at this point, if you are on a desktop or a laptop, you can actually add a photo to this, which I'd highly recommend to increase engagement and views and click-throughs on any content curated post you publish. Failing that, you can just publish this here. So what you want to do is add this to the queue. Adding to Buffer, it's done. So that closes down. That's just one piece of content curated, and now what you can do is either trash that or archive that, knowing that we've read that. So I just archive it. Okay, so to configure your Buffer account, it's just a matter of logging in and clicking on connect more profiles and pages. So it's basically adding in a Twitter account, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever you want to do. So in this case, let's say we wanted to connect a Twitter account. We just hit connect. And I've maxed this out, but ultimately this will now ask you to log into your Twitter account to authenticate, and that's the process. So just replicate that with Twitter, Facebook and LinkedIn, and there you have all your your primary social accounts connected to your Buffer account. So now that takes care of, I guess, setting up Buffer and moving content from Pocket through to Buffer. So that's basically it. That's the crux of this workflow. Simple, straightforward. We're finding articles on the web, pushing them into Pocket, and then choosing what we want to share on a daily basis. And that's it. It goes to Buffer. Buffer does have scheduling, which we can set up. So if we do go in here Click on my account. Time settings, change all that. So this is the configuration items I'd go through. And what we can look at here is for Twitter, for example, we can look at schedule, and these are the 4 times of the day that I actually schedule my posts. So again, slightly different audience. Everyone's going to have a different audience. You can upgrade to a $10 account and have this done automatically. So $10 per month will automatically schedule the best times for this to go out. But if you just want the free account, then go through and dictate the times that you want to send stuff out. So that's it. That concludes the tutorial. The links are all at the bottom of this video. So all these links here. And don't forget to use this recipe, because that's what you will need to automate this process.